In 2004, cities all across America had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That's when Patty Phillips picked up the phone and called her father, Colonel Denny Phillips of the Salvation Army, and said, "Why not South Bend?" So began a leap of faith.
If you're going to think that you're going to change the world, you ain't going to do it alone.
So everybody helped to raise money for the Kroc. They could see that neighborhood being built up.
Some would say one small town, especially its most challenged neighborhood, a mostly forgotten, broken, urban desert with seemingly little to offer, was the least likely place to put a cultural, social, educational, and spiritually uplifting center that other cities across the nation were fighting to get their hands on. But the city of South Bend knew it had a lot to offer, especially here in its most challenged neighborhood.
It was right in the middle of the prostitutes and the drug dealers and violence and crime, and it was like, yeah, that's the perfect spot to put it.
If there are Picassos to be painted or Rodins to be sculpted, they ought to be here in the inner city because they revivify the spirit. You know, they make people believe that it's possible. And maybe the kids think that there's a possibility. They think about, they break the boundaries that normally limit them, and that's what Kroc does every day.
South Bend would become one of the smallest towns in America to be gifted a Kroc Center from the estate of Joan Kroc, a huge shot in the arm.
But then you had to raise the money. That process was not easy. That was a huge, huge challenge. But Mayor Lickey was very on board with the fact that we had to raise the money in the community.
It was a collaboration effort. It wasn't just one group of people. Mayor Buter was from Mishawaka, Joe was from South Bend, and that's how we kind of got started.
Bob Buter and I worked together. It wasn't just us. It was a whole team of people, and that's what we needed.
It's going to be in our neighborhood, and we need this right here. It gives people hope. It can be done. We could see that vision. Change will occur. This is exactly what Mrs. Kroc wanted.
The Kroc Center itself goes back to the relationship that was forged between Father Ted and Joan Kroc. And to serve as honorary chair for the campaign for the Kroc Center is something that gave him great fulfillment.
Father Hesburgh asked Joe Kernan for a ride back to his room one day and told the former governor something he'd never forget.
He said, "You know, Joe, a lot of people ask me why I would be working with the Salvation Army because they're not of our faith." And he said, and my response always is, when it comes to serving the poor, there's no room for argument. And I'll remember that for the rest of my life.
People had to see it. They had to believe in it, and they had to know that it can be done. You just have to believe in transformation and change. And we began to try to raise that money.
Deb Caffiero, the Salvation Army had such an impact on her family's life, her mother, her father. She wanted to be able to be involved, to give back, and she made it possible to have AM General give a $1 million gift to the project, and has since forever been a supporter of the program, and we love Deb.
You could say Jeff Gibney's last big gift to the community was the work he did supporting the Kroc Center.
I think that Jeff was a genius. What I liked about him, he was spunky. And he said, yeah, you can do it, you can do it. He believed that you can do anything.
He just saw the people in the community as needing help so desperately that he just gave his heart, soul, and mind to this project. It was just his goal, his desire to make South Bend a better place.
When Jeff passed away, we had his memorial at the Kroc.
I love that man. He was a great, great man, and I miss him.
This community is so giving, and what a great asset it has been.
The campaign had raised a lot of money, but it had stalled out, and South Bend was running out of time.
I got a call from Carol Ladig, And Carol said, I want this campaign to be over. And I was like, Carol, so do I. I'm doing everything I can. I don't even know who else to ask. When I would walk across the street in South Bend, people would run away knowing that I was going to ask for money. And she says, Major, I don't think you understand. I'd like to come over and give you a check for the remainder of the campaign. And ended the campaign right then and there. And we were on our way to making all this a reality.
It's kind of life-giving. People see it, the Salvation Army, not just as a Salvation Army, but a place to go and a place where they can be treated with respect.
What a wonderful gift for us to live maybe a mile away and to see this really serve as a melting pot for our community, to see our kids be able to climb the wall or play in a basketball game or work out alongside other people who they don't normally engage with and socialize with. It's the breaking down of barriers. It's bringing together people from disparate worlds where they can discover each other's worth and dignity and God-given potential.
And we're just proud of it. I'm real proud, and I'm proud that it's on the west side of South Bend in a neighborhood, and it's diverse.
It has turned out to be that and much more.
There was a homeless guy that we gave a scholarship to, and he would come at 5:30 every morning to work out at the Kroc Center. One day this guy was not there, and the other members said, where is he? And one of our staff said, well, he's not able to get here anymore because he doesn't have transportation. And they said, well, tell us where he lives. We want to pick him up so that he can get here. And these were doctors and attorneys that were literally driving to a homeless person residence, which was at a shelter, and picking him up, bringing him to the Kroc Center. They would work out together, and then they would ask him where he needed to go, and they would help him. So they helped him get a job. They eventually helped him get a car. They got him on his feet. And these are the transformational things that took place that really nobody knows about.
The promise of the Kroc Center is transformation. Not so much of a neighborhood, but of all the lives it brings together. And history shows
I just want to do God's will.
that it's from places like this
Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you.
that we should look for our next great leaders.
God is watching me. God don't praise me because I beat Joe Frazier. He wants to know, how do we treat each other? How do
I
we help
am
each
going to
other?
be somebody. I may have something in me that would be of value, maybe not just to me.
While women weep, I'll fight.
And if you want to find the next generation of great leaders today, look into your inner cities, because it's people who really know adversity, people who have struggled through hardship, who know poverty, who have been broken in this world. They can testify in the most profound ways to hope. They can break cycles. Anybody who's kind of coasted through life, they cannot really testify to hope. But somebody who has been there, somebody who has really been up against it, been tested by the fires of life, that can still believe in the future and still radiate love and still give back to others, they are the ones who will make the greatest difference.
While little children go hungry, as they do now, I'll fight.
This is something that Ray would have liked me to do. And I'm sure he's looking down. I know he'd be happy and proud of today.
And what a great asset it has been since it opened.
The prophets have almost always come from the margin. They're the people who have been the least vested in society, who in their brokenness have been able to receive the Word of God and then reveal it in all of its truth, beauty, and candor in most powerful ways to others. So I believe that's where some of the greatest leadership in our community is coming from, on the west side, in those neighborhoods around Kroc and at the Kroc Center itself, imbued by really the long legacy of the Salvation Army that has always been one-on-one with those who face adversity and yet still testify to beauty and greatness.